Phil from Cool2Care. There he is. There you go, Phil. I know you're going to fire away, so fire away.
Oh, that's right. The Alan Sugar of social enterprise. Thank you very much for this chance to talk a little bit more to you about the passion that I care about, which is about disabled children. I got into this world of social enterprise 3 years ago. My background, professionally, I did 20 years in the IT sector, most of those years with IBM. Not a techie, really didn't like computers at all. So I learned, my business, cutting business skills of general management, sales and marketing, 4 years in Asia. Fantastic time for 20 years. My first son, Sean, is disabled. He has physical and learning disabilities. He crawls around our house. He is in a wheelchair outside. He has a vocabulary of about 300 words. He'll say sort of, Daddy, London today, please, and no more bomboopa. It means no more computer. Switch the damn thing off, come and play with me. And he's age 12 now. For the first 3 years of his life, it's fair to say my wife and I were flawed. It's the grief and the coping process to handle when your child has a severe disability is extreme. And it took me that while to really just simply get through and then start to rebuild my life and my family's life. And I guess the interest in IBM started to dwindle a bit, and I started to learn about social enterprise, combining business with a personal passion, and that's where I arrived 3 years ago. And the genesis of Cool2Care, what we do is we help families find care. As I mentioned earlier today, 1 out of 13 disabled children receive support from the state or from organisations funded by the state. 12 out of 13 disabled kids out there get nothing. Their parents receive no support whatsoever. So when I started to realise these sorts of statistics, it started to translate into a market opportunity, and I started to say, can I build a model here to help families find care? That means somebody that they trust, somebody that they can come to the house and take the child out, get the young person involved in the community, get them to live a life again. And that's what I did. So 3 years ago, we founded as a community interest company. We're limited by shares. We ran 2 pilots, one in Surrey where I live, and one in Birmingham. We wanted to test out the rural and the urban dynamics of this recruitment sort of model I'm talking about, and trying to link semi-skilled personal assistants, as they're called, with families. Those pilots were successful, and they started to attract interest from local authorities, who then started to invite us to set up that model in different parts of the country. So in 3 years, we're now operating around 20 different counties or local authority areas around the country. We're covering all regions, so North, Midlands, South and London. And certainly that was my 3-year objective accomplished, which was to build a nationwide network that was serving families across the country. The revenues we've had so far, just to give you an idea of the growth, in 2008 we got around 50k revenue. In 2009 it was at 300k, and this year we're forecasting 1.3 million in revenue, and we will turn a profit of around 70 to 80k. It depends partly on how much we pay the directors with equity versus cash, and we're going to have that discussion in a board meeting not too far future. We're trying to be innovative in everything that we do. I'm trying to bring all that discipline that I learned from business with IBM, good process, good planning, good finances, all that stuff that PwC talked about earlier, try to bring that to a sector that's dominated by charities that are operating usually very small-scale local activities on philanthropic money. There's a small handful of very large charities that do support disabled children, usually on very old-style models, I have to say. We're trying to bring the whole thing into the 21st century. The team I've now got, for 2 years, I was the management team, as you'd expect. I now have an SMT in place, Sales director hired from Virgin, very good at the commercial B2B sell, very good at negotiating a contract, for example, and great with targets and so on. My operations director is the opposite from the charity sector, WRVS, women, volunteering, knows all the ins and outs of the charity world and public sector. And then the finance guy. Finance is probably the one role I've had most flux in, people moving and then on. We're actually hiring a finance lead just as we speak. Right now I'm using an interim FD who has genuine FD experience in the telecom sector. He knows how to raise money. He's helped me build the 5-year business plan where we are now. What we want is $500,000. When I started 3 years ago, I thought it'd be easy to raise money. I thought, yeah, I've got all this IBM experience. Yeah, I know I'm a dad of a disabled boy. I know the thing. I'll be convincing. I'm sure they'll give me money. And nobody gave me anything. I learned the hard lesson of the entrepreneur. You've got to show you can deliver something. So that was 3 years ago, and we are now at a different pace, I think, a different place. We're showing we can deliver a surplus. We're showing the model works. We're showing social impact, and we will help 350 disabled children this year. And we're now into the coming, what's 4 or 5 years, what's the vision ahead of us now? 3 things, really. We want to diversify our income streams to protect ourselves against a little bit of the buffeting and the choppy waters that for anyone who's working with local authorities is going to go through. We're going to enter new markets where, for example, we have adult services asking us to extend the age range of the children we support. You know, if an 18-year-old needs an assistant, so does a 19-year-old. Surprise, surprise. They all want fun, friendship, fresh air, getting out, involved and participating in the community. They all want the same thing. So we're getting requests to expand into new markets. And then finally, we're going to use some of the investment to really ramp down our unit costs. We've learnt the trade by doing a sort of very manual recruitment process. A lot of people are very labour-intensive. So we're going to invest in the internet to really drive through a scalable recruitment-style engine. You're all aware of the role of online in recruitment, and we know we can apply that to this particular client set and scale up with the number of families we help. Ultimately, of course, I'm driven by my son every day and trying to make the world a better place for the 750,000 disabled children just like him. So that's my story.